Hello everybody, I am Jeff, and we're going to be reviewing Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One, which just released just yesterday. And so I've had quite a bit of time, actually, to play through this to really get a feel for how this actually works and plays on the Xbox One. So let's dive into it. The galaxy is a very large place, and this is never more true when you're playing a true replica scale of the galaxy in a game like Elite Dangerous. But this is one that's filled with immense opportunities for success, but also opportunities for a lot of failure as well. You start off with a modest ship, you get a small sum of credits, and you're thrown into an absolutely humongous procedural generated representation of the Milky Way galaxy. So what do? The possibilities here are literally endless. But is Elite Dangerous big enough for all of us on the Xbox One? Certainly on the PC it was a good game, but what about on the Xbox One? What about on the console, where it can be perceived as being limited? Is it actually going to be good here? Alright, so let's begin. The Xbox One, nor any console at this point, really has a game that quite matches the breadth of this Elite Dangerous experience here. Nor really is there a space simulator available currently that allows for such freedom such as this to actually be had. So, of course, the PC is rife with a plethora of good examples of open galaxy type games that let you sort of romp around and kind of doing your own thing, making your own way, and even with, good objectives kind of telling you what to do. But here on the Xbox One, and really on any console up until this point, this is in a league of its own. There's no game like this right now. First of all, a very, very important note, something that needs to be touched on with Elite Dangerous. This is a space simulator. This is a true open galaxy space simulator. This means that you'll be flying through space, doing what we might actually believe our future selves will be doing. You're on a ship, and you can do one of really kind of four things. You can go out and blow stuff up. You can set up a trading empire if you want to, or just trade by yourself. Or you can mine for resources to sell, which is a form of trading as well. Or you can explore, which is actually surprisingly fun. And with anything in this genre, if you aren't really a self-motivated individual, then it's probably not going to appeal to you. Nothing is handed to you here. Not everything is immediately obvious what you're supposed to do. You're sort of there, in this galaxy, ready to go do something, and it's up to you to figure out what you want to do. Pick a path. Figure out what you want to do, and then go do it. So if you're not prepared to go outside of your own comfort zone, then you're probably not going to like the main portion of Elite Dangerous, the main game itself. CQC, on the other hand, is phenomenal for anybody. So this really kind of, it does take a serious investment of your time to get the most out of it. And not everybody is willing to, or really able to commit to such a grand scale of a game. So definitely choose wisely and understand that if you are going to play this game, it does take a lot of thinking. It's a thinking person's game. So just keep that in mind. It takes time, thinking person, lots of stuff to do, gotta do it on your own. Self-motivating, ladies and gents. Self-motivating. Now, if those activities do sound exciting to you, then there is plenty to do in this good old galaxy of ours. You can run around, collect bounties, while in the midst of ferrying goods from one station to another, destroying pirates, and of course helping the local system fight off those lawless, vagabonds that are kind of trolling about the area. And really is kind of thrilling here. And this might sound a bit strange to some, but even exploration, as benign and boring as it might be, is actually kind of fun. You go from system to system, you scan the star, you use your little scanner, you find all the other astronomical, objects in the area, and you go and scan for those. And it's actually kind of, it's fun because these are real representations of what might actually be in the real Milky Way. So it's fun to know that this might actually be a real solar system out there somewhere. But anyway, I digress. I'm a little bit of a nerd. And you can explore, for the most part, the entire galaxy, but just keep in mind that if you're a completionist, exploration-wise, you're probably not going to be able to explore all 400 billion plus systems in your real lifetime. It's not even really possible, because there are so many, and it's such a complicated journey to go upon. But what about repetition? Repetition is sort of like the big thing, right, that people are worried about with Elite Dangerous on the PC. Everything is sort of the same. Everything looks the same. All the stations are the same, etc. And really, there's only so many things you can do. You go to a star system, etc. It all kind of looks the same. There's a bunch of stars, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Aren't most games repetitive for the most part? Quests in any game, at their most basic level, can only really be about going somewhere, killing something, or really retrieving something. They're all very basic, and so it's all about the window dressing and the things that they make to make it exciting that really makes the game stand out. And really, this is no different than all of that. It really is. Of course, there's going to be some repetition. You might get bored, but the scale is a lot larger, and there's so much to do, and it's such a unique and vast universe to play in that it's fascinating. It's hard to get bored, at least for somebody who loves space sims. Of course, you could become bored, and if your attention span isn't really so long, then this game might not be for you anyway. And I haven't become bored yet. So overall, this game is a tremendous amount of fun. Now onto the controls, one of the most important parts of any sort of, well, any game really. And here in Elite Dangerous, there are so many things that you can do, so many things you have to control, that it sometimes becomes a bit overwhelming because you only have that one controller to do so. And so you end up doing some sort of like acrobatic type thing with your fingers while you're trying to, you know, do everything that you need to do while you're flying. It becomes a little bit cumbersome at first. However, after the learning curve, it's actually not too bad, and it's a very natural feeling. So once you get past that learning curve, the controller actually works really well here. It's a very good example of using the Xbox One controller for this type of game. It's perfect. It isn't without some complaints, however, and one of those primary complaints actually also comes from the PC version that carries over here to the Xbox One. See, your actions don't necessarily affect the political environment much, and there's really no real reason to be part of any one faction over another. The values and the events of the galactic news that you can read about aren't anything you can actually actively take part in, and it's kind of superfluous at the moment. There isn't an overall feeling of being part of something, of belonging to something greater than what you already are, being a dude in a ship doing something. And so the overall, you know, good versus evil doesn't really exist here. That doesn't mean it's any less fun, however, just that there's less of an impact than, you know, I'd happen to like with my actions. And there's less, I guess, depth, you could say. There's a lot of breadth in this. It's a very wide, huge game, but it's not very deep at the moment, although there is still a lot of things for you to do and a lot of content coming later. And so really, all of those things, all of those complaints that we have about this game, you know, about it not really being that deep of a game, all of that's going to be fixed coming up soon. We're going to be able to land on planets, for crying out loud, you know, scavenge for resources there. We're probably even going to have some sort of FPS battles coming up. I mean, it's really kind of exciting the direction that they're taking it. Already, it's a complete game in and of itself. It allows you to do a lot of things, but of course there's just more ideas that need to be added, and of course that took a little bit more time. So no, it may not be considered complete for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's still very much a complete game, and it's very much a fun game. You just have to know how to approach it, and if you look at it as anything other than an Elite game, then you're really sort of doing it a disservice because of the Elite franchise. This is sort of what it does. This is what it's about, and this captures the essence of the Elite franchise just perfectly here. Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One is really a lot more accessible as an open galaxy, you know, type of game, and it really does make it, and this genre, very accessible to just about everybody, because now it's on console. It's really easy to play for the most part. You boot it up and you go, and it works. And of course, Elite Dangerous on the PC also works pretty well. It's very stable. So if you approach this as anything else other than what it is, you're going to be disappointed. Of course, then there's CQC, which is positively exhilarating. It's fast-paced, and you could use those Newtonian physics to your advantage, flying around doing all sorts of acrobatics to try to get your enemy. And it is a lot of fun, especially when you have a good team. CQC is, I think, an esport in the making. The fact is that it is great to play when you have a good team as well, because everybody working in concert together and ganging up on an enemy, so to speak, and then helping each other out. It is fun, and the small areas add to that great dynamic. Just remember, it's a massive galaxy out there, and though it might at first seem a little bit sparse, it's sort of the reality of the proportions. Life isn't going to be absolutely everywhere, and nor is it really here in real life, otherwise we might have found something by now. And so there are moments of complete and utter silence and loneliness out there in space as you try to explore a little bit closer to Galactic Center. It really is sparse in real life, and all of the political dynamic is all held into a small little bubble, so to speak, out where you know, Earth is. It's really quite fascinating, and it's fun. Just remember that when you're playing Elite Dangerous, you have almost infinite freedom to explore what's presented to you. And of course, with the potential for infinite freedom also comes the potential for infinite boredom if you can't find or make something for yourself to do. Because there is plenty in the game for you to accomplish, a lot of things that you can do, a lot of wonderful things. It's just not thrust into your face, and they don't hold your hand to show you where everything is. If you want an objective, you have to make an objective. And that is where the true beauty comes and lies within Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is quite possibly the best and the only space sim of its kind on the Xbox One, and is wholeheartedly recommended. Not only for the main game itself, but also for CQC, which will be, I think, a fantastic entry into esports, if not a great competitive game to play.
Stakel extends a warm welcome to all new arrivals at this facility and Godspeed to departures.